Hello, everybody. My name is Troublemaker,
And I'm Rangru.
and this is the ESL October Finals. First, we have playing as the blue Nato Pikachu and ESL, and they are Sam.
And on the red trunks and NATO on match, we have SHAZBOT with Daisy Walker as X and C Esker. And the map also is opt-out.
The Opbell East. Ooh, lots of fun here.
Lots of fun. I particularly like the middle of this map, as you see the cross intersection. It allows for a hilly battle, a little bit of infantry garrison, as those infantry garrison points in the middle crossroads can be quite vital for holding them down, and a lot of CQC action between the points, yeah.
It's actually been a while since I've actually seen this match play. In the old meta, air was, of course, so powerful that people would fight for these mountains to try and stage AA there with the infantry AA, but with this new metagame, I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go out. So far, lots of infantry, airborne infantry being used.
Especially from Endgame, and a lot of Black Hawks and now cannons in the last ESL match. While NATO opt for, again, an awful lot of MD Jupiters and ground-based units.
I'll have to see how this all works out. One of the big things, they have to have watched some Sam games because they've been kind of everywhere as of late. They have to know that Sam hasn't been using napalm. So you wouldn't make this decision if you knew that.
Some mortar stream from NATO or quite a bit of a rel.
They might be trying to model Tiga and the Firestar's ground-based approach, which well, it was pretty crazy. I haven't seen something like that in a while. It's been mostly pretty well airplay for most of this game, actually.
Indeed. This match will get on Ray very shortly.
Or ever.
Hopefully. Too bad there's no Ray we can actually like skip to the front when the match actually begins, but we can do without it. We can live without it for now. Also,
and one of the weird things of this map, of course, is the rallies. They're very, very weird. There's no real close rally for the bottom, and in order to get from your top rally point down to the bottom, you have to cross through that hellish center location.
And that's really prone for ambush, yeah. And it can be quite dangerous if you don't keep an eye of your supply route in the middle. And that's enough really good reason to hold the middle, because you get supplies from Delta, to stream into Bravo sector.
Or alternatively, a good reason to just all in.
And the match has begun. The aircraft off the bat. It doesn't. Right. Oh, we have a Mirage Run C. There's some napalm wrapped on Daisy Walker.
No air superiority fighters from either side, though. This is absolutely bizarre. We could be seeing an entire age of no fixed-wing aircraft.
No Drakens or Starfighters being used. This is quite a miracle. Seems like DayWalker really blocking off that Northern Valley approach, making sure the enemy doesn't try. Yeah, but it shouldn't really matter too much for Pikachu as he Black Hawk.
Nothing particularly risky there. Just not losing his napalm bomber. We'll keep it for later. Not a terrible move.
Endgame really getting right up into Bravo of his Black Hawks. Well, CS only has 2 Hueys to countermatch that helicopter attack. Those Hueys are being for a good day. And Endgame is going to be landing the Black Hawk. We are going to get into the town and get the garrison at the start. We do have a flak pan to move it up. Yeah, we only and a mortar Roland. It's the only really thing stopping the boat.
That Mara Roland can do an insane amount of damage if because he doesn't micro-right, though. He has to get those gazelles spread out and attacking.
Even group transports are actually getting some spot shot on the gazelles. Not be doing too much damage. They're actually pretty well spread out, the gazelles, I have to say. But oh, the flak panda's on the move up. It's on pick run by run. But those governments by Sieska right in them. Bravo, if they can get to that forest, they can really challenge those Delta. Yeah. The Gazelles are going to be backing up a little bit.
And he's probably going to be able to push right on up. He's got enough AA to deal with the Gazelles if he moves it up. He has enough hardened hard infantry and tanks to really support this. There is a Leopard in the area somewhere.
Indeed. If you look over to the crossroad, you see it's a bit of a napalm battle. Yeah, Pikachu's using some A7 courses to keep up the helm of a Mednich from DayWalker getting into that town. And like Rifleman did a very good job holding those two little garrisons for us, yeah?
It could be a massacre, actually, if they're not able to get enough of the light riflemen. Looks like they'll be able to keep that position. And there's also 60 hand diversmen in the woods there, just kind of chilling out, not joining in the fight.
Indeed.
And Napalm's also been very good in the bottom here, knocked out all those infantry and...
blocking their route off down that road.
Could be a big stalemate at Bravo. We have a VABPC command coming in, and there should be a Centurion command tank on the way as well. Oh,
right, good.
Really odd choice. They chose their main base to have a Centurion command as well.
Yeah, that is a bit odd. Because you wouldn't really think you need a command tank here, because that's a lot of money for a command tank. Especially a Centurion, I think that's like 170 roughly. Well, like a Rover, little Jeep CV would only...
Well, it looks like there will be contact here for blue for a little bit. Might be able to get that bleeding rolling just a little bit, just enough to give them a small lead. And this could either be a really, really boring match and not go anywhere, or this could be the most intense battle for middle possible. It's hard to predict right now.
I really like how CSGO managed to actually capture a part of the side in Bravo. I really thought EusikaZe was just going to complete blitzkrieg Bravo by getting all the infantry in Bravo in the forest and taking more front end positions, but I really like how CSGO really pushed in and given EusikaZe a bit of a hard time, not letting him completely have that point.
But having said that, both of his AA just got wiped out on the southern flank, so he has no more way of defending against these Gazelles, who are actually just going to push through.
Whoa!
This is a little bit crazy. It's not even a critical mass. This is only 3 Gazelles, and he's going to try and go for blood here. There is a Centurion cutout in the open. A Freedom Fighter is coming to intercept. This could be pretty massive.
Indeed. The Freedom Fighter is coming in. It's firing off some AA missiles. Oh, knocking out 2 of the Gazelles.
Grizzly is firing and revealing its location. That's a huge mistake. A flag has gone down. EusikaZe has identified the location. If it's not destroyed by this helicopter, a bomber should follow up. Will a bomber show up? He's going to move the Grizzly. Smart move. The Centurion is going to keep baiting through. And no bomber actually connected. So good luck there on the part of the CSGO.
Indeed. Very good luck. Yeah, Grizzly just 5 if it's HP left. Seems like back down and across DayWalker really wanted to get those light riflemen and herpmen out of that little residential area. Yeah, it's a residential area. Moving up some herpmen and netties. Also some depot tanks along the north hill. You can see trying to get the 2 Rolands. I think DayWalker might just have enough to knock out his infantry in the residential areas, as you can see.
I mean, in the old metagame, they would be fighting for those little towns, but with the way it's working right now, he's going to be able to push into this wooded location and completely stop reinforcements.
Indeed, and also that'd be a pretty good staging area into Delta. If they can capture Delta, that'd be quite good. Also, like how both sides are using Leopard 2A4 quite a lot. Oh, that Zippo! Oh, I love what that Zippo doing on the North Hill. It's napalm in the road, so no reinforcements can get up to stop him. Oh, do you see that?
Yes, I got my camera right on it. Leopard is running through it and picks off the vehicle with the Seahawk, and might not have too many lasting effects. There was 1 infantry rallied out. It looks like they've manually changed direction of it so they can avoid this middle location altogether.
Indeed.
And a little bit of a Leopard spar-off happening right now. This is completely RNG based. Who wins this?
I think Pikachu's going to win. He has more HP. But DayWalker's run is going to reverse out of here.
And another Leopard 2 pulls up. Oh my god, low health.
Oh, wow. With 2 HP left, it barely gets out of here. It needs to resupply ASAP. Another Leopard 2A4 to take on another Leopard 2A4. There's so many Leopards.
That's the one thing I really hate about NATO. It's like they seem to have way too many kick-ass tanks. And you go to Pact, it's like, well, we have our T80s and our T80Us and our T80 goodbyes, and you know, like they have a lot of T80s.
Yeah, NATO has a lot more variety in terms of their tank forces. The Abrams, the Leopard, the Challenger, the Chimera. Oh, so many different types of tanks to use with many different types of gimmicks. Well, Pact, it's the same gimmick all around. Long range, lots of firepower, and 80 GMs on their tank. They are quite good, Joe, in open fields.
Actually going to burn his own forces alive to get the majority of the Panzer Skites out of there. And both are actually vacating the area because they realize, like, we just bombed ourselves. That's stupid.
Oh, but he didn't manage to knock out all the infantry finally in that little residential area, so if he can get some more infantry reinforcements up here, he can hold out for himself, which is quite good.
And the position war is, even though they're not technically winning right now, the position war is actually going to the SHAZBOTs, who've just... They have the supply lines, they can challenge bottom, they can pick up a lot of units, and I mean, this bottom's going to be pretty isolated for a long time.
Indeed. If you notice down south, we do have a little bit of an assault from Sieska, moving some government out into the open. It seems like trying to get them into that little wood lumbering area. If he can get them in there, he can cause quite a bit of havoc and keep them alive longer, so do a bit more damage. Also, like the ATGM-2 Milan's position as MD Jupiter's constantly supplying them to shoot tanks at long range, but there's so much reserve infantry once again from EusikaZe and Pikachu. It's going to be really hard to force them out of that zone unless they bring napalm. Speaking of napalm, A7 call is from EusikaZe.
And that's just a ridiculous amount. That's 120 napalm. If he's playing the napalm himself again, this is going to be a bad trade. Oh my god, he just did it again. He napalmed himself 2 times in a row. What's going on here?
I think he really doesn't care about his troops' lives, to be honest.
And he gets a big napalm on the Centurion, which is going to be forced to move and bleed a little bit more.
Oh,
there's actually not much here for Red at all.
Yeah.
You can't actually defend any kind of push at all of any sort.
Yeah, all he has is that Milan 2 and, God forbid, his Centurion tank. Oh, he does have an M1A on Abrams moving uphill, but that is about it. Yo, I have to admit, EusikaZe's forces basically just infantry, so out in the open, they won't do entirely around.
No, that is entirely true. I'm thinking these napalms are just being too effective right now. They're just... He hasn't lost any of his bombers yet. He's been picking off radar-based AA with SEAD fighters. He's been just bombing every single cluster of infantry, every single tank, every single vehicle that he can. And here comes another wave of Corsairs.
Oh, bloody hell, EusikaZe really loving his stairs. Using them quite a good effect.
There's no AA in the area, so we can just be ridiculous with this. There are 2 Rolands coming up, but they're just not... Oh, sorry, there is 1 Roland there.
Oh, I think this Centurion might die in the napalm. Oh no, it missed just barely. That Centurion is only on 3 HP left, and... Oh, it is bleeding fuel. It won't be able to move much longer. Ooh. Oh, that is not a good position. That Centurion is in a good position. And if he only has like 6 points left, he really needs to reverse that into a forest and hope for the best, to be honest. There is bringing up a MD Jupiter with some supplies to resupply now complete.
I mean, it's one of the weird balancing points of this Centurion tank. It has no fuel tank at all. When you look at any other tank, they have 4 times as much fuel. This one, it travels half the map and it's out of fuel. It's bad.
And the British were always really about stationary games. Didn't like to...
Short-term burst.
Indeed. Oh, if you notice back in the crowd section, Pikachu getting a crap ton of reserve infantry. You can test the route around, go some napalm. This man's to kick out all the Pact infantry in that area, and he is going to recapture it. We do have a Leopard 2A4 moving up. They walk Won't be able to do too much here against infantry.
Too much infantry.
That's so much.
They've been burning through these though. Like this is 60 right here, and then there's 120 at the bottom. Like they have to be running out of infantry sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's like reserve infantry for you. It's very popular. That's why both sides are playing NATO, and they're both using reserve infantry quite a bit. Pikachu and andYukikaze are using them quite a lot more. And because of it, I can just get so much infantry, fan them around. It's out just that many units that are hard to find. It's almost like guerrilla warfare.
Well, speaking of guerrilla warfare, they do have like another 20 of these reservists running through the mountains.
Oh, I see.
And they might be trying to do a reinforced block. There is stuff there to prevent this, but dear lord, they are just really aware of this map. They didn't go directly to the reinforcement line. They kind of zigzagged through to get to here.
Because they zigzagged through, they didn't miss out on those cannons. They won't be shot at. Very good, because many people like just go in the complete northernest point of that mountain, and then everyone puts their recon helicopters and anti-infantry helicopters there, because they know you're going to try to do something sneaky.
Now they're not going to do a terribly high amount of damage, but they should be able to do some, and it should be cost effective. I mean, this is a 5-point unit they're throwing away. They can kill some vehicles, they can kill small arms tanks.
Damage a heavy tank that comes out and shoot it in the side. There's many things that they can do as an ambush is an ambush, which is quite good. Also, I do have 8 RPGs, bazooka, so they can stay there for quite a bit, as most other units only carry 6 to sometimes. Oh, that one is out in the open now. Gets spotted, and it seems like it's going to get knocked out with relative ease.
Yes, infantry deployed super fast. Just kind of goes to show the amount of skill we're looking at this level of play.
Yeah.
This guy clicked on a part of the map without looking on the map, and he just immediately reacted and got this done. A lesser player would have lost probably both of these vehicles.
Indeed. I'd a Thunderbolt if you just saw coming right in. I don't know how it managed to survive under so much AA fire, but it did. Really proven to its A10 has 2 armor stats, right?
But something crazy just happened.
It's like 1 or 2.
In the south, we had 2 vehicles, the tank and a new command showed up, and they were actually simultaneously destroyed. That's really weird. The current meta, of course, is to get an extra command on a base, reveal it, so that they kind of target it, and your actual one is kind of safe. And yeah, they just destroyed both of them simultaneously. Completely smashing that man.
Points. NATO is currently in the lead. Point department. They do really have Bravo all to themselves, as not from Sieska in here to really defend it. If all he has to do is really piss up now, he could have his whole Bravo sector to himself, Yukaze.
And he can also take Echo. There's really only a few riflemen in the area, not too much. And with them having basically control of the middle as well, and they're pushing that mountain hard, and
they're being very aggressive, I have to say.
And it all kind of comes down to the fact that they're, I mean, Pikachu and andYukikaze have been really good at targeting down AA. They've been picking it off, and I mean, if you look at the bottom, they rallied in an extra 3 AA post-game, which is really rare.
He is starting to move up some infantry down in the Servmanettis. Is going to get destroyed over by the Hueys in the air. Like riflemen, have some more riflemen moving up some Sieska.
Really comes down to how much will those higher Havermen do before they get destroyed.
They are very cheap, 5 per infantry, 5 to 10. They're really easy to just throw away units that you can get killed, and it won't make too much of an effect in the game.
Well, certainly not. Light riflemen, of course, are not the guys you want to lose in this kind of battle, though, because they have that really super powerful Dragon rocket launch. They're not a real anti-infantry squad by any means.
Indeed. That Dragon launcher, absolutely brilliant at taking out lightly armoured targets at medium range. It does have a 1500 meter range, where most RPGs only have 500. So really having that 3 times extra advantage in range is huge when holding the town, as you can stop napalm tanks even get nearby and really saving your infantry. That's all.
And their infantry just continue to roll out here. These decks, I have a way of playing, and everyone else has a way of playing, and I'm a big fan of the balanced deck. I love, because you have to prepare for everything.
Indeed.
But these guys, they're all about preparing for everything by having infantry, which prepares you for everything. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, like, both sides are really using infantry so much. Like, the only tanks that you've really been seen use are Leopard 2A4s and M1A1 Abrams, which are super heavy, expensive tanks. You haven't seen any medium tanks being used. This infantry's really been the playstyle of choice for both players, and reserve infantry in the Pact.
I mean, one of the weird things that I found is that in these infantry-heavy builds, that people haven't been playing like SHAZBOT, who of course been getting early artillery in anticipation for this infantry. Whereas when you look at, say, SAM, they don't have any artillery at all. Not even any mortars.
Yeah, mortars are great in this type of scenario, because they can fly fast, they can fly out effectively, and they do a crap ton of damage again. Crap ton.
Especially in the open, where there's so many of them in woods right now. Ridiculous amounts.
So many, you can just pick them all by run. Really just causes a lot of hassle. Good.
And it looks like we're going to see a little bit of a lull. We don't usually get to see this much, and good pick-off on a lot of these fighters. Not losing a single one. Lost some napalm bombers. Hasn't been losing these really expensive Thunderbolt 2s.
Yeah.
Which have just been insanely good. They just picked off a couple of vehicles there. Really good airplane micro here.
Both sides have really been using airplanes quite effectively, but Sam in particular, I mean, they're using these A-10 Warhogs, keeping them alive and using them to create infantry and gun runs. And not many people like to gun run their A-10 Warhogs due to the fact you keep them and make them fly over enemy airspace, and because they're over enemy airspace and they're bloody slow, they're going to get hit up quite a lot. So just really interesting how he's using the plane to such great effect. I love it. Even on napalm as well. Not even just using it to kill infantry, but making vehicles move out of their position and then knocking them out with an ATGM Milan F2, which is Roland is going to be a victim of. Love it. Indeed,
and I mean, there's only so much AA in these decks. Eventually they're going to run out, and it's going to be a classic play, because in the original, the very first metagame for the game was, I'm going to destroy all of your anti-air, and then I'm going to steamroll you with helicopters. That was the original game.
Yeah, that's what it seems like Sam is doing right now. They're using that Raven to great effect to keep knocking out the Mortar 2 Roland, which are radared, and just flying them in, knocking out the radar. They're really making SHAZBOT's time at the moment very hard. Oh, good God. Pikachu and EndgameYukikaze do have A as well in that. And God, this constant airplanes coming out from both of them. Like now fighting Falcons in the south from EUKAZE to destroy infantry in the forest.
And I mean, he's got these Thunderbolt 2s just sitting on standby. The second that any kind of radar reveals itself, he just goes in there and strikes. Hate it right away.
This good old run-2 punch.
Things are getting really bad for SHAZBOTs. Infantry are actually moving up into the woods north of Bravo and will in fact wipe out that AA position. There is a Leopard 2A4 to guard it, however, so maybe not so easy.
Yeah, and it seems like he's reversing his AA and the Leopard 2A4 as they are doing a roll-in retreat. I'm shooting at the infantry to try to get closer ever so slowly. But yeah, SHAZBOT are really on the defensive at the moment. They need to pick up their game. They need to do their counter-attack now. But I don't really see them doing it. It's just so much stuff. EUKAZE and Pikachu. It's just everywhere, defending every point. I really think they might win this match.
Well, I mean, that's one of the big pinnacles of good players, that a good player doesn't just take his position and sit on it. He takes his position and he takes more. He makes you regret ever trying. He's now moved in an extra 4 AA to try and take out some of these vehicles. He just got 2 jet fighters so far, and now this means he has less tanks, he has less infantry, he has less ground-based forces, and he doesn't have much of air himself. So getting all this AAs is actually only going to benefit Sam even more, unfortunately. Here comes the Tomcat.
And a Raven right behind it. Maybe a Tomcat. Flying around, keeping us safe. Like, probably be able to knock out that Mortar 2 Roland in Echo. Fly over, and maybe even Flak Panther as well.
Got 1 potch off, 2. Not
circling around. Trying to get the second shot off. There it goes. He actually use that Raven very conservatively, not dedicating itself completely, but having it circle around his own AA net so he can long-rangely pick off AA units. It's just quite an awesome tactic.
Using that like really great turning range too, like just perfectly practiced play from basically what has now become 2 professionals, because they're in the finals for a 500 euro tournament.
500 euros, where you can get a pretty good fish and chips with that. But yeah, 500 euros is quite a lot divided by 2 players. That's 250 euros in American dollars. That'd be like 400.
I think it's actually 1-1 now because the American dollar is so pitifully weak.
So that'd be like. Go ahead. Sorry.
I think the Canadian dollar, the American dollar, and the euro are all 1-1-1 now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's a $250 plate of fish and chips. That's one expensive. Britain's expensive.
Yeah, it is, mate. It is. But yeah, that's actually quite a good amount of money, I say. But these guys are like in Japan, I believe, so it'd be in yen. So
I think they still get euros.
But they can't use euros in Japan now. They're gonna have to
we might be seeing a little bit of an all-in coming from Sieska. He's rallied out a lot of helicopter airborne infantry. He might be trying to do a mini Raining Man attempt. It's very, very fortified what he's going against, so I don't know how this will work out.
There's a lot of AMX-13 ELs.
Oh, never mind. He's actually evacuated them. It appears he's just run out of infantry.
Have to get them in. Land them instantly. Oh, he just complete Raven Greenet Forest. Combing the forest, quite literally.
And they're going to push up together in a big, giant mothball, and I hope they can do something, but I don't know what they'll do.
I do like how he kind of spreads them out all across the forest, so if an napalm was to drop, it won't knock out like 4 guys and run it only knock out 1 to 2 squads in like 1 bombing run.
It's a very risky, slow maneuver, though. I mean, this is going to be very slow. It's going to hit in 45 to 50 seconds. There's lots of time to react. That's why these infantry rushes are not terribly effective. But if he can get a go to it, it could do something.
It could maybe put up and cause a bit of havoc. And the VABCV is quite close to the forest. What to do is get that little red line in Delta and hopefully do a little raid and knock that VAB out. Yeah, it will be quite risky. Hey.
It's pretty much desperation. This could be their final push because they're at the 50% mark by they, I mean Sam, and they don't have anything in bottom. They don't have a commander anymore. They don't have forces there.
Yeah, it's a complete bare bones army. Skeleton closet worth.
He's got his Gervais men.
I believe there's a Norwegian. This standard Norwegian infantry.
When I'm reading names like this for the first time, and this is the first time because this is a really obscure unit, sometimes I feel like an old man, like adjusting my glasses, like, what does that say? The A and the E are stuck together.
Yeah, the A and the A is a wee bit tied, so it's leaning on the E for some support.
Oh. Tactical language.
Yeah, but yeah, some of the like Scandinavian names are really hard to pronounce, like Helmenettes. I mean, especially the Danish units. The Danish language is very weird to pronounce. Very weird to pronounce. The words sound like gurgled up rubbish. No offense for any Danes.
Well, it is the base of the English language, so. But yeah, this is pretty slow and anticlimactic.
Long line of red.
There's actually a lot of infantry being still rallied out. AA being rallied out, not the appropriate unit. A lot of this will come down to reaction time and what they have available. Because SHAZBots, they don't have infantry; they have airborne infantry. So, what could Sam possibly have? Possibly nothing.
Yeah, indeed. Getting up into line. They're probably going to spot the infantry or the red line of infantry before we even get to the base, as the Herfmans are all spread out. So that will give him like a good 20 seconds to buy some units and react. And oh, seems like he's starting to move up some light riflemen. The first wave of assault, the rest of the government starting to move up. This could be the final push of the match.
He's got great positioning here. The light riflemen are going to go to the front, and they're going to try and wipe out vehicles and tanks with their rockets. And then they have all these infantry coming in to try and close the gap, kill the infantry, move on through.
But Pikachu managing to unload some infantry right at the spawn point. He has a lot of Herfmans that could be enough to really counter DayWalkeRzyx's forces, right? Yeah.
Well, he knows this is going to be a last-minute cheese. Everyone has to expect some sort of last-minute cheese, and this is, I guess, something he planned for. Not even going to kill any of these isolated units, just going to keep pushing on through, walking on through. There's lots of helicopters they're not using right now. Looks like they're finally lifting off, going to join the fray. Not a ton of AA in the area, but then again, they did just rally in some AA, so...
Also, heavy hulks being brought up from EusKaze. This is going to really rain down a grenade launcher fire. And there was light riflemen Mentees. That is not good. If we look a little bit down the other side of the hill, the government are making a little bit of progress, but they have run into some Herfmans. And the heavy hulks are just really sealing in the deal. They are putting a nail in the coffin for his infantry.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
This could be it. This could be the very much end of October's finals. It's an interesting tactic, though, because it reminds me of these World War One. They made a couple of them in the 90s, and the whole thing was insanely slow turn-based play with infantry in perfect lines. And that's kind of what we're seeing, just kind of how the game sort of worked out.
It's like over the trenches, into the breach type tactic, just one long line of infantry charging against a heavily enemy fortified position and then getting decimated. Very much a road tactic.
I'm pretty sure they had napalm World War One, and realistically, like a napalm bomber after reinforcement point, the time off with this would have been perfect. But I don't know if this is practiced well enough for this to work, unfortunately.
Black Hawks flying over are going to get shot down by AMX Snarls. They are not doing too much. Fighting Falcon also being brought in. The Sam's going to use that advantage. Not bombing the infantry now. It's just being... That just 5 those.
I think that was just explosion. Now, you know, a crash helicopter, when it lands on top of a vehicle, does do damage.
Oh yeah, because like when something blows up, it does 80 damage.
Yeah, it's a little weird and a little cheesy, but yeah, that's it.
That's it. DayWalkeR surrenders. Siaska. Now, pictures.
Just overwhelmingly decimated. And this is not a noob team.
No, definitely.
They're in the finals. They beat, attempt to say no unit to get here, so they're really good.
These are like the best game has to offer. So this is quite a very high level match. and both sides using NATO and using their tactics quite well. EusikaZe and Pikachu really have some good rhythm with each other, with the helicopters and using the planes, helicopters, I said helicopters again, just to really overwhelm the enemy of air.
So, that was pretty good finals. Next week is week 7 of the ESL, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so as well.
Yeah. And we actually have a lot of new players in the game. They had a sale recently, and the game sold really, really well. So maybe it'll be even more crazy next week. New players doing new cheese.
Yeah, it's been a huge spike. Like beforehand, it'd be like 300 players on a like online. Now it's like 1,000. Huge spike, like 3 times the amount of players. It's brilliant.
The EU time is crazy. It's like 1,600, 1,700 players at peak.
Indeed. So, yeah. Been Rangru.
And it's Troublemaker.
See you guys next time. Take it easy.